Welcome to Daily Harmony.
Glad to be here.
Today we're doing something a bit different. Maybe call it a review, but it's more like a deepening.
Mm-hmm. Going back to connect some important dots.
Exactly. We're looking at two really powerful ideas. Give miracles and fear is the stranger.
Lessons 159 and 160 from A Course in Miracles.
Right. And we're exploring them through the lens of Lesson 175, which kind of helps integrate them.
Yeah, ties them together nicely.
So for you listening, if you're looking for ways these ideas can really shift things day to day, bring some, I don't know, clarity, peace, this should be helpful.
It's about seeing how giving and this sense of safety, how they're really connected at a deep level.
Okay, so let's jump in. Lesson 159 first. I give the miracles I have received.
Right.
Now, miracles, that word can sound huge, can't it? Like parting the Red Sea or something.
It can, but here it's often more subtle, more internal.
Like those moments of insight. Or just a sudden feeling of connection or understanding.
Exactly. Those shifts in perception, seeing things differently, beyond the usual fear or separation. A moment of clarity, a feeling of unexpected love or unity. Those are the miracles the Course talks about receiving.
Okay, so these internal gifts, these moments of clarity,
Mm.
and the main point of 159 is don't keep them to yourself, give them away.
Yeah, that's the core idea. They're meant to be shared, extended.
Why is that? What's the thinking behind needing to give them?
Well, the act of giving seems to. It actually strengthens the experience within you. It reinforces it. It's like by extending that peace or insight, you're affirming its reality for yourself and the other person. It underlines that sense of shared being, that we're all connected in this love.
That makes sense. So it's not like losing something when you give it away.
Quite the opposite, really. The Source suggests it deepens it, both for you, the giver, and for whoever receives it. It's a recognition of that underlying unity.
Can you give a practical example? How might you actually give a miracle you've received?
Sure. Let's say you've been struggling with a problem, and suddenly you just get it, you see it differently, and there's this wave of peace.
Okay.
Giving that miracle might mean talking to a friend who's stuck on something similar and sharing not just the solution, but maybe the shift in perspective itself.
Sharing the insight.
Or maybe you feel a sudden, genuine compassion for someone you usually find difficult. Acting on that compassion, even with just a kind word you wouldn't normally offer, that's giving the miracle too.
So it's about actively extending those positive internal shifts.
Spot on. It makes the miracle more real, more tangible in the world.
Okay, that clarifies 159. Now let's look at lesson 160. I am at home. Fear's the stranger here.
A very powerful one.
Yeah, especially because, the world often feels like anything but safe and homely.
Right. And this lesson flips that. It says, our true home, our fundamental reality, is a state of being. It's characterized by peace, safety, this deep sense of belonging.
Not a physical place there.
No, primarily, it's an inner state, your natural spiritual environment, you could say.
And if that's home, where peace and safety are natural, then fear. Why is it called a stranger?
That metaphor is key, isn't it? A stranger is someone who doesn't belong, someone out of place.
Right.
It implies fear isn't inherent to us. It's not part of our true identity or the spiritual home. It's an outsider, an imposter almost.
So when we feel fear, we're essentially letting an unwelcome guest into our inner space.
That's a good way to put it, yeah. And the affirmation, fear is the stranger here, it's like posting a no trespassing sign for fear.
Huh, I like that.
It's a conscious reminder, you don't belong here, this space is for peace. It helps us question fear's authority over us.
It makes you think how often we might, automatically believe the fear, give it legitimacy it doesn't actually have.
We do. We often treat it like it's the landlord when it's just someone knocking uninvited at the door.
So how do we practice this? How do we really feel that fear is the stranger?
Well, awareness is the first step. Noticing when fear pops up, and then consciously challenging it. Remind yourself, this isn't my true state. Fear is the stranger. Then you can actively shift your focus.
Shift it towards
a feeling of home, towards peace, safety, love. The Source suggests maybe visualizing a place, real or imagined, where you feel completely secure. And really try to feel that security, that sense of belonging. It's about choosing where you place your attention, reinforcing the reality of your true home over the illusion of fear.
It's an active reorientation then, not just wishful thinking.
Definitely active. It takes practice to remember fear doesn't define your reality.
Okay, so we have these two big ideas. Giving the miracles we receive and recognizing fear as an outsider in our true home of peace. How does Lesson 175 bring them together? What's the
Well,
connection?
Lesson 175 acts like a review, yeah, but it really highlights the synergy. It shows how these two ideas work together, how they support each other.
How so? How does giving miracles relate to fear being a stranger?
Well, think about what happens when you genuinely give a miracle an insight, compassion, understanding. You're operating from a place of connection, of love, right?
Yes.
Fear thrives on the opposite separation, lack, believing we're alone and vulnerable.
Okay.
So when you actively give, when you extend that love or clarity, you are living the truth that separation isn't real. You're demonstrating unity, and that directly undermines the foundation fear rests on.
So giving is like actively pushing fear out by bringing love in.
Kind of. It's more like shining a light. Fear, like darkness, doesn't have substance on its own. It just seems real when the light of love or truth isn't recognized. Giving is recognizing and sharing that light.
That's a great way to put it. And the other way around, how does knowing fear as a stranger help us give more freely?
If you start to truly believe deep down that fear isn't native to you, that it's this foreign element, it loses its power. So much of our reluctance to give, whether it's time, love, understanding, resources, stems from fear, doesn't it? Fear of not having enough, fear of being rejected, fear of looking foolish.
Yeah, absolutely.
But if you see that fear as just this stranger whispering nonsense, you're less likely to listen. You're freer to act from your true nature, which is loving and giving. Recognizing fear as unreal removes a major block to generosity.
So it's a cycle. Giving reinforces the sense of unity and diminishes fear. And recognizing fear as unreal frees us up to give more. They feed each other.
Exactly. Lesson 175 helps us see that dynamic interplay.
The source materials also suggest some practical things we can do, right? Like daily reflection.
Yes, taking time each day to just notice what moments of peace, clarity, or love did I experience today. Those are the received miracles.
So step one is just recognizing them, acknowledging them.
Right, because sometimes they slip by unnoticed.
Oh.
Once you see them, you can then ask, okay, how could I share this? Who might benefit? Maybe writing it down helps, like in a journal.
Makes sense. Build the awareness muscle first. And then there's affirmation practice. How does that fit?
Affirmations are like actively training your mind. Repeating something like, I am at home in love. Fear is the stranger here, especially when fear does show up.
Yeah.
It helps rewire those old thought patterns that automatically give fear credibility. It strengthens the conviction in your true, safe inner home.
So it's a tool to consciously choose the thought system of peace over fear.
Precisely.
And the last one was visualizing peace. We touched on that.
Yeah, it connects directly. When fear arises, instead of getting lost in it, you consciously choose to visualize and feel your inner sanctuary.
That safe place.
That safe place. Focusing on the feeling of security, of being loved, of belonging. Doing this practice directly weakens fear's hold in that moment.
And presumably feeling safer and more loved makes you more inclined to give miracles.
Absolutely, because you're operating from a feeling of fullness, of abundance within yourself, rather than from perceived lack or threat. Generosity flows much more naturally from that state.
It all seems to point back to this core idea, this deep sense of inner belonging. What the Course calls our connection to, well, our divine home.
That's really the foundation. This inherent safety, this peace, this connection isn't something you have to earn. It's just what you are beneath the layers of fear.
And the miracles we give and receive are expressions of that home.
They are. They're like signals from home, reminding us of its reality. And sharing them spreads that signal. When we shift our primary focus away from the noise of fear and onto this quiet, constant reality of peace,
Then the miracles just flow more easily?
they flow more freely, yes. Both to us and through us to others. It becomes a more natural way of being.
So a question for you listening might be, how often are you consciously noticing those little miracles, those moments of clarity or peace in your day?
And are sharing them, extending them.
And when fear comes knocking, how quickly do you remember, wait a minute, you're the stranger here?
It's a powerful reframe.
This deep dive into 159, 160, and 175 really offers a practical framework, doesn't it, for living with more peace.
It does. It encourages you to try these things, the reflection, the affirmations, the visualization, and just see what shifts for you.
Thank you for joining us today for this exploration. We really hope you'll carry these ideas with you. See how remembering your true home and the power you have to give the miracles you receive impacts your experience.
Maybe something to ponder on. If you truly, deeply believed that peace was your default state, that fear was just an illusionary stranger, how would that change the way you approach absolutely everything?
That's a great thought to end on. Thanks again for listening to Daily Harmony.